Welcome to Edumarshal. This is a demonstration of our online learning management system integrated with the web conferencing system to allow institutions, schools, and corporates to conduct live online classes. In this demonstration, we will take you through what the student experiences as a part of joining the sessions and also what the facilities offered to the teacher are. The student logs into the learning portal and is greeted with his dashboard. The student's dashboard contains all the courses that the student is enrolled in, and if permissions are granted, he can also go into all courses and enroll himself in any additional course. Towards the right hand side, we have a latest announcement section block. The latest announcement section allows the teachers to post important updates and advisories or any change of schedules so that the student can see them here. The teacher can simply do that by going into the relevant course for which you want to post an announcement, click on Announcements, and add a new announcement topic. From a student's perspective, the student also has access to upcoming events, which is essentially any new trainings that are scheduled as per the calendar of trainings. The teacher can create a new calendar event simply by going into the dashboard and going on Go to Calendar. Then click on the New Event button to create a new event. In this case, for example, the teacher creates a new event for chemistry online class. They can schedule the date of the event and set whether the event is for the entire set of users on the site, for example in case of webinars, or a specific course event where they can choose a specific course that they wish to create this event for. The teachers can also add a link for the students to join the event. They can enter a location of the event, which is online, and set the duration of the event, let's say 60 minutes. The event can also be repeated across multiple weeks. So recurring events can also be created. The teacher saves the event over here, and once saved, the student will be able to also see these events in the upcoming events block, as you can see here. There's also an option for the students to be able to chat with other users within the system. They can just click on Send Message and chat with the relevant users. Now, when a student logs in to the learning portal and views his courses, he can log into any of these courses by clicking on the relevant course. This brings him to the welcome page of the course, which allows him to view all the details about the course, including the course completion criteria, the number of quizzes in the course, and also the number of topics that are covered. The course can be broken down into chapters as we see here, or can also be broken down into sections, weeks, or even have a social format. There's a course completion section that we've added at the bottom to allow for students to complete a final quiz and download the certificate of completion if they meet the course completion criteria. Every course has a course discussion forum where the students can go and post their query. For example, the student does not understand the chapter 3. He can post a query. Once he posts a query for chapter number 3 and posts it to the forum, this will be notified to the teacher and all other students enrolled within this course. The teacher, on the other hand, can go into the same relevant course and reply to the queries of the student by going into the course discussion forum, opening the relevant discussion, and providing his response. Apart from this, the teachers can also moderate the forums. They can delete a post or they can edit the text of the post. Now, from a student's perspective, apart from the discussion forums, each course is also made up of chapters, and each chapter can be broken down into multiple activities. Here we've got 4 activities for chapter number 1. A live online class, an asynchronous tutorial which can be tracked in terms of its progress by the student, some interactive content, and also a quiz which is auto-graded by the system. So when a student comes in for chapter number 1, he can join a live online class with the teacher simply by clicking on live online class for that chapter. He'll be notified that he's waiting for the moderator to join, which is the teacher has to join the session before the students can be let in. From a teacher's perspective, the teacher can go in the course, open the relevant chapter, and start the session or the live online class by clicking on the relevant link. They can just click on join session to start a new session. The session starts without the need for the installation of any plugins. It is HTML5 and WebRTC compliant. No plugins are required to be installed from the teacher's side or from the side of the student, and it runs simply using a web browser. The teacher can join in to the session. Once the teacher joins in the session, the student will be notified that the teacher has already joined in. Simultaneously, the student can also join the session.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
The teacher has now joined the session, and as you see, a student has also joined the session. Now, a noteworthy thing here is that the student has joined using his own credentials, which means that he has not joined anonymously and he has not been given the option to join in anonymously, which allows for attendance in a class as well. Now, the student can know exactly which students have joined the session, who have been enrolled in this course. From a web conferencing perspective, the live online conferencing has various facilities. One of the first facilities is to add a new presentation or share a new presentation from a point of view of the teacher. The teacher can click on the plus sign and upload a new presentation to be shared with the students. The teacher browses for the relevant presentation on his desktop and uploads that, which shortly gets uploaded and gets converted into a standardized format. Once it's converted into a standardized format, here it appears to the students and the students can go ahead and view this slide, and the teacher can teach the students in a live online manner. While the teacher is teaching the students, they can also go ahead and annotate by annotating different aspects of the presentation. The teacher can annotate using circles, ellipses, and just underlining the content. They can also add new text to the content for certain text that may have been missed out. These annotations can also be done from a student. So from a student's perspective, if annotations need to be allowed, the teacher can turn on the multi-user whiteboard feature on. And from the student's perspective, the student can also start annotating now. This is important in those cases where the teacher wants the student to be able to give an answer for a particular problem or underline it or even add some text on the slide as a response. Of course, the teacher can take away the rights of the students from a multi-user whiteboard feature at any time, and the annotations can also be closed. Of course, there is an option of webcam sharing where webcams can be shared by the teacher and by the students alike. As you see here, I've just shared my webcam as a teacher. Screens can also be shared by the teacher to demonstrate a particular activity. For example, if they want to share a screen to demonstrate a software, they can do that by clicking on screen sharing, choosing to share an entire screen, choosing to share an application window, or choosing to share a specific Chrome tab. In a school environment, you may not want students to have access to sharing their webcams and microphones during when a session is on. In that case, the teacher has the ability to lock the users by going into the cogwheel, manage users, clicking on lock viewers, and locking the ability to share their webcams, microphones, public chat, or even private chat messages. And once the teacher applies that, on the fly these features get disabled, and from a student's perspective, the student will not be able to send any chat messages as they're locked, will not be able to turn on their webcam or share their microphone. This is to convert the session into a webinar mode where the students can only listen to the teachers, and at the end of the session, the teacher can open it up to discussions by unlocking the viewers, and they will be then able to communicate with the teacher by sharing their webcam or by initiating a public chat or even by speaking using the microphone. So the control of the session is completely in the hands of the teacher, and the teacher can maintain the sanity of the session. There's also a feature of shared notes where different students can add shared notes as a part of a collaborative effort to create notes during the session. For example, the teacher can type in a note, and in the shared notes, the student can also type in his own shared notes, so that towards the end of the session, there are a collaborative effort of notes that have been created, and these can be taken back by the student. From a teacher's perspective, the teacher can also record the session. When the teacher starts recording of a session, the session will get recorded and will be available within the learning portal. At this time, the session is being recorded, and once recorded, the session is made available through the learning portal within the same chapter. So under chapter number 1, as you can see, there are a multitude of recordings that are available because of sessions that have been conducted for that particular chapter. Recordings can also be paused at any time. In certain cases where videos have to be shown to the students, for example, for a maths class where the maths teacher has to actually demonstrate the process of solving a problem, or an accounts teacher who has to demonstrate the process of creating a ledger, videos can also be uploaded to any of the systems like YouTube or Vimeo or even self-hosted, and they can be shared here using the share an external video option. Once a new video is shared, it is made available to all the students who can then
Hello and welcome to the chemistry tutor.
Who can then view the video simultaneously and concurrently. You can also conduct polls or quizzes within the live online session by creating and starting a new poll. This ways, you can create multiple types of questions and make them accessible to the students at a click of a button and get the results. There's also an option wherein you can create big breakout rooms. For example, if you have too many students in a class and you want to split them up into two separate classes for two different teachers to be able to teach them, or just break them up into two different classes for a group discussion, you can create breakout rooms and specify the number of rooms you want to divide the students in. For how long that room will be available, after which the rooms will then be merged back into the main meeting. You can also choose the students that you want to send to room number 1 by selecting them and moving to room number 1, or you can randomly assign them across multiple rooms. So breakout rooms is a great feature if you'd like to break students into cohorts for group discussions. You can also shift between a video being shared and a presentation that you were earlier on sharing. This is the live web conferencing. At any given point of time, the teacher can end the meeting, and once the meeting has been ended, you'll notice that the meeting has also been ended for the student. So the teacher, after the meeting ends, comes back to the learning portal and is able to see all the recorded slide session that have been conducted for that chapter. The teacher can click on a specific recorded session and be able to go to the recording to be able to view the recording of that session. Coming back to the main chapter, So now we have talked about live online web conferencing. Let me take you through some aspects of asynchronous learning. So after the live online class has been conducted, the teacher can allocate a specific tutorial to a student so that the student can actually take that tutorial and be graded on it. For example, this tutorial is right at the end of the first class, so the student goes in and takes this tutorial. Once the student takes this tutorial, the tutorial opens and this is a SCORM package which allows the teacher to be able to grade the students depending upon the number of slides the student has read. For example here, this tutorial has a total of 31 slides and has a voiceover associated with it as well, as you will be able to hear
Welcome to
shortly.
lecture, Pharmaceutical and Clinical Research Industry Overview.
The notes for the lecture in terms of the voiceover are available right here so that the student can go ahead and view the notes as the
This
voiceover
lecture
goes through it as well. Within these presentations or packages, we've also added some resources. For example, the student can go to a live video lecture hosted on YouTube, or they can also view a PDF file. So multiple resources does not need to be crammed up within the same presentation, and the presentation can just link back to the relevant documents so that more information can be gathered by the student as a part of his learning activity. Each of these slides as they go through is tracked. For example, if I go through 5 of these slides as a student and I just go back and exit the activity, the next time as a student I come back and open this activity, since I was being tracked for every slide, it gives me an option whether I want to resume the presentation from the last slide viewed. And if I click on yes, it starts at slide number 5. So that way tracking is maintained from a student and teacher perspective. The teacher can view the grades of these activities at any time. For example, the teacher can go into the grades option, and for the student demo can see that for the tutorial that was started by the student and 5 slides were completed, he can click on that tutorial to view the details. As is visible here, the student demo has started the attempt for this tutorial, but because he has not completed all the slides, his score is 0. We can also view the details of this attempt by clicking here as a teacher. And as you see here, it's an incomplete attempt, the amount of time that is spent on this attempt, and the total score that is obtained, which depends upon the total number of slides as against the number of slides that were read. So this allows you to create grading mechanisms and completion frameworks within the learning portal to allow for a specific completion criteria depending upon the score that is obtained for any tutorial, the time that's spent on it, and the status of the tutorial. Basis that, you can create a completion criteria for the course as well. We are happy to tell you that the learning management system that we have created has also support for HTML5 packages, where interactive content can be added that has been created on h5p.org. So from a student's perspective, when a student would go in and create an H5p interactive content, we'll show you a demonstration of that. So this is an H5p content created on h5p.org, and when I click on this content, it has some interactive functions on top of a video tutorial. So as you can see here, there are some pop-ups that come here, and I can click on them to view the details about what's going on in the video. In the middle of the video, you also have some multiple choice questions that have been embedded or built in. And then you can answer as a student, you can answer the relevant questions and check whether your answer is correct or incorrect. And if you have too many incorrect answers, even before the video is complete, you will get a feedback to go back to the start of the video and start viewing it again, which allows for ensuring that the student is understanding what he's learning. One of the types of features that we have is in our learning management system is also assessments. So from a student's perspective, the student will go in and take a quiz or an assessment. This is a quiz which has to be completed in 45 minutes and has only one attempt allowed. So at the end of 45 minutes, the quiz will be auto-submitted by the system. Clicking on Attempt Quiz Now starts the quiz. As you can see here, there are some multiple choice questions that are built in with the correct answer built into the quiz, so that if a incorrect answer is provided, then the student is not graded on it. But if a correct answer is provided, then the student will be auto-graded on it without the need for a teacher's reflection on the answer. Other types of questions that are built into the quiz include true and false questions, open-ended questions, where an essay type or a short answer can be provided, along with the ability to add a new file. For example, the student can solve a problem on his or using a pen and paper, take a photo of it, and upload the attachment as a part of submitting his assignment for this quiz question. The teacher can then grade the same. Other quiz types include multiple choice questions, match the following questions, and drag and drop questions like balancing equations. Also, complete the definition questions, where you can complete the sentence as a student. And once the student finishes his attempt, he can submit the quiz. When the quiz is submitted, he gets his score and also a key at the right hand side showing what his grades are. So any quiz question that is red in color, which means it's been incorrectly answered. Anything as a check mark means it's been correctly answered. Anything that's gray in color signifies it requires grading from the teacher. And anything that is orange means it's partially correct. So here, since the first question is incorrect, we have built in question specific feedbacks. So for question number 1, we have defined a predefined feedback that should show to the students if they answer something incorrectly. So as long as the answer to the question number 1 is incorrect, this feedback will always show, and the correct answer will also be specified to the student, so that he can reflect back and see what the correct response was. For certain questions, like open-ended questions like question number 3, the answers cannot be assessed by the system because these are open-ended responses. For these questions, the teacher can grade the student. From a teacher's perspective, the teacher can grade the student simply by going into grades. Here, the teacher can choose a student that he wishes to grade. And here, under student, choose the specific assessment. Now, assessment number 1, when it's being graded, only one of the students has completed this assessment. And the question that has not yet been graded by the teacher is question number 3. The teacher can simply click on this to grade the student, or they can just review the attempt of the student to see all his responses. Looking at the key, the teacher can know that, okay, question number 3 has not been graded, and the student can be graded by the teacher adding a new comment and adding an appropriate mark. So if the answer provided by the student is correct, they'll provide a grade for the student and provide an appropriate feedback and save it. Once they do that, you'll notice that now the student has been graded for question number 3 and his answer is correct. From a student's perspective, the student can also go into his own, can also refresh this, and he can see that now since the teacher has graded it, he can see that the answer to question number 3 is now correct. Going back to the course, the student can know his grades at any given point of time by clicking on the grades button. And he can see what he scored in each activity. In the tutorial, he's not scored anything. In the assessment, he scored 61.11%. And the course total is a simple weighted mean of the grades that are obtained across various activities. So multiple activities can be clubbed together to create a grade. And that grade that is obtained can be used to set the completion criteria of the course and the issue of a certificate if required. So this is the demonstration of the learning portal and the web conferencing application that we have. Of course, from a teacher's perspective, the teacher can enroll any students into a course by going into the relevant course and clicking on users. They can then click on enroll users to enroll new users into the course. They'll click on enroll users and from the list of users just type in a user that they want to select. So they can select a specific user, and once they select a user, they can choose whether the user should be enrolled as a student or be enrolled as a non-editing teacher. The duration of enrollment can also be set. For example, we can set the duration to, let's say, 30 days, so that the user will only be enrolled in the course for 30 days, and after that will get unenrolled. So the system provides you a lot of features. In a nutshell, the system allows the ability to run live online sessions in a way that the students are forced to log in with their own credentials and not be able to log anonymously into the session. It allows for sharing of screens, sharing of presentations, sharing of videos, locking webcams, microphones, and public and private chat, and also allows you to create breakout rooms into which the students can be broken down for group discussions. It allows you to create multiple asynchronous classes which can be graded and tracked by the teacher. Interactive content from h5p.org can be embedded to create more engaging content for your audience. And also quizzes can be created to assess your students, and based on that assessments, issue a completion for the course and also issue a certificate of completion as a part of your program. All in all, the Edumarshal learning management system and the live online conferencing system are tightly integrated with each other to provide the most effective and most efficient learning experience to your students. Thank you for joining this demonstration, and welcome to Edumarshal.